Molini, and welcome to the Conversations with Lankosi YouTube channel. Dingulankosi, your host Guysini, and welcome to my channel.
In today's video, we're going to be talking about the famous Kenny Kunene, the man that has social media on a frenzy. Today, we talk about Kenny Kunene, specifically focusing on his declaration for his support for Israel. Now, let's delve into this intriguing subject and uncover the reality beyond what we see. Let's start off with establishing who Kenny Kunene is and what qualifies him as a leader. Now, Kenny is a South African businessman, socialite, and a politician, right? Who gained significant media attention for his flamboyant lifestyle and controversial actions. I could be giving you guys the 411 in depth, but I'm just going to keep it at this so that we can continue with today's video. Let's start off with establishing who he is and what qualifies him as a leader, right? We need to understand Kenny Kunene and his political affiliations. That is very important. Now, Kenny is actually a South African businessman, socialite, and a politician who gained significant media attention for his flamboyant lifestyle and obviously controversial actions. Now, Kunene did not waste time after his release from prison and was back in the papers again. However, it was for a different reason this time around, you know. He first came out to highlight that he was given a job by whites because you know when you're arrested and then jiggy jiggy, now people must start from scratch, right? Yeah, now also he came out and his story, yabo hore, there was a messiah that just came and gave him a job and it was a white person. So he felt that it was important for him to actually say this and make it known to the public. I don't know. I hope they gave him a gold star for this because he could have just said, I got a job. I got a job, you know, not long after Antipuma Echele. Employment was something that I didn't necessarily struggle for that much because I got a job, right? Anywho, he first came out to obviously highlight that, you know, he that was literally one of the first things that he said. Oh, okay. Anywho, in his own words, now he also went on to say that Julius Malema supported him in his hour of need and that he's not going to leave him in the cold. And this was also during the time when there was that Julius Malema and the ANC leadership thing going on, and he was still in the youth league. And it was like, you know, literally when he was making his exit, because in my eyes, people were threatened. But okay, as Sekolab, hopefully we'll get to talk about that one day. Anywho, so Tate Kenny, at least this made sense. But the other one, yokuba ndiqashwe ngozibani I don't know though. I feel like it still comes in handy now, you know. But then again, we'll talk about it. This is just me, you know. Okay, let me continue before I literally go off topic. So after saying that he wasn't going to leave Julius in the cold and stuff, Kenny made sure that he was not going to play around, you know, and he literally became a member of the EFF and he was one of the EFF's prominent members. In fact, the man was in charge of campaigns and special projects. He was the head. Right. But then again, as the head of campaigns and special projects, he quit. And his reason behind it was that he no longer will form part of the party's central command because yeah, now he had a lot of things, you know, that he had to take into consideration before even reaching, you know, this decision, right? This final decision and actually taking the step. And then he also went on to say that, you know, he would obviously like to see economic freedom being realized and that he will remain an economic freedom fighter for ordinary people. However, during that time, right, that period, it also was revealed that there were reports, ezithi Kenny Kunene was being investigated for tax evasion soon after he joined the EFF. Guys, now when asked if he had resigned due to this, he claimed that he had settled his matter with SAR. So he didn't deny or actually admit anything, right? He just said he settled his issue with SARS and that was it. He left us on read until, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was during the same year. He came back and announced, guys, he made an announcement that he found a new political home. And this new political home being the Patriotic Alliance, which was founded in 2013. And, he comes back with this announcement, and there's also this big reveal that now he's the Secretary General, guys, of the PA. Yay! Did social media not now do the things? He trended and he made sure to use the platform that he was given, and I must say, his switch up was insane. It was probably one for the books. It was probably one for the books, literally, because Hayini guys, ha! Hey, bo, he was now a radical advocate for the PA's goals and principles, right? Um, and that's why I'm saying it was a switch up because, in my eyes, I think this was his soft launch, him rebranding. And it was the soft launch of this new rebranded image or version of him. Because again, we were still stuck with that image of him that we all have that continues to linger at the back of our heads. So yeah, hey, Ndate Kunene has always been a polarizing figure. That is something that we cannot argue over this. There's no debate about this because injal, Ndate Kenny has always been a polarizing figure. Some view him as a dynamic entrepreneur and influential political figure, while others perceive him as a self-proclaiming opportunist. Now, let's get into why he trended after making his declaration, which has now formed part of, the factors that fuel to the distrust people have in him and his leadership ability. But before I get into it, I just want to say that 2023 has, 2023, I think this is not the first time in 2023 where the Patriotic Alliance comes out to show us that bona they support Israel and that they stand with it. And it's not Kenny's first time either. But then again, we're gonna get into that as we continue. So I don't know. I really don't know what's happening, Hey, Mara, let's continue. I really do not want to deflect, but I wanted to highlight that it is not his first time coming out to declare his support for Israel. Akaqali manje, and I doubt where we are. I really don't think he's about to stop doing what he's doing right now, but it's interesting how this man knows how to actually cause a frenzy on social media and in nje, literally. Now let's get into Dr. Kenny's support, for Israel. Back in 2017, Kenny Kunene affirmed his support for Israel during a visit to the country. This declaration actually stirred controversy and it divided the opinions in South Africa's political and social landscape. Now, for us to better understand the context and potential implications, let us explore South Africa's historical stance on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Now, South Africa has a long history of supporting the Palestinian cause. This solidarity traces back to the apartheid era, where the South African government maintained strong ties with the Palestine Liberation Organization, known as the PLO, condemning Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories. There's also videos, guys, of Nelson Mandela being the president of the Republic of the South Africa and also as president of the ANC, declaring his support for the people of Palestine and, condemning what was going on that side. So given this historical stance, Kunene's support for Israel raised eyebrows, leading to questions about his credibility as a leader. Now, critics argue that his alignment contradicts the principles of solidarity with opposed nations, suggesting that he may have personal motivations behind his stance. In other words, his views may actually be sponsored because there's other things that he's chasing, and the only way for him to get certain things is being what he is now, doing what he's doing now, and publicly proclaiming his support for the people of Israel. Now let's get into possible motivations behind Kenny Kunene's stance. Okay, so to further investigate Kenny Kunene's support for Israel, we must explore potential motivations that could have influenced his stance. One hypothesis is that Kunene seeks to gain favor and financial benefits from Israeli allies or investors. As a businessman, it is plausible that he is pursuing his personal interests diverging from the interests of his political party. Another perspective suggests that Kunene's support for Israel could be rooted in the desire for political relevance. By aligning himself with a contentious issue and defying the established narrative, he might aim to attract attention and gain popularity among a different audience. However, it is essential to maintain objectivity and consider alternative explanations. Further research and investigations are necessary to verify these possible motivations behind Kunene's support for Israel. However, it seems that the dominating view is that his views are sponsored. I'm also trying to be objective here, but that is the dominating view, like literally. Now let's consider the wider implications and impact of Kenny Kunene's support for Israel. As a public figure and former politician, Kunene's words hold weight and can influence public opinion. His declaration could lead to a shift in some South Africans' perspectives towards the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And on the one hand, Kunene's support for Israel might provide a platform for constructive dialogue between Israeli and South African communities, fostering greater understanding and cooperation, which I do not see happening. Anywho, on the other hand, it may also perpetuate divisions and polarize the already politically charged environment. I think that's the goal. That is the mission. That one, where it may also perpetuate and where it can also perpetuate divisions and polarize the already politically charged environment. I think that is the goal, because he's been taking populist strides and moves kwezinsuku, guys. It's not surprising, but nakwana he does it like akusinto akayiqala manje. This is something that he's been doing. Anywho, to fully grasp, the consequences and aftermath of Kunene's support for Israel, it is crucial to closely examine reactions from different stakeholders, ranging from political leaders, civil society organizations, to ordinary citizens. Guys, literally. And let us not forget, earlier on in the year, when they went to go and visit that country, right, Israel. They went to go visit the president. What they went there for was, to understand how to form part of a coalition government that is healthy, how to run healthy coalition governments, and because that was the reasoning that Mr. McKenzie gave people, But then you have Ntate Kenny. And remember, Mr. McKenzie is the founder of the Patriotic Alliance. You then have Kenny Kunene, who came in, and Yenage, all of a sudden, he is the one that is outside proclaiming. He is the one that's outside making these statements. Even if Gayton supports the cause, he isn't as vocal about it as Kenny, and I think that's because he understands our historical stance as a country when it comes to that. So obviously, the reaction is not going to be the reaction that you're looking for. But who better, to come out and proclaim support on behalf of the PA and himself as an individual? And Kenny Kunene himself, the sushi king. So I'm looking at Mr. McKenzie because he is taking calculative moves. His moves, that man can calculate. As for Mr. Kenny, that's a different story on its own. So, him coming out to proclaim support in 2017, coming back to affirm their support earlier on in the year, back in July, and then having Kenny Kunene being given the platform, because that's one thing that I said. When you give this man platform, he makes sure that he utilizes that platform in a way that is literally going to make him trend. I think he was saying something. I can't say. I'm scared I might be saying something. But there was this chant, or the something that he kept on saying, the statement that he kept on repeating, and it was very weird to watch him say it like that. It was as if he was trying to prove a point to someone. So I don't blame people that are looking at him with that eye, with that suspicious eye. But maybe you are actually just here because you're after something, or maybe there was, brown envelopes, that found their way to you, and now you have to like own up to it. But like I said, guys, please do not forget that akaqali ngoku, he is not doing this for the first time. Maybe it feels like it's the first time he's coming out to openly proclaim his support for Israel because of the situationship currently, because of how everything is happening and unfolding in the media, how celebrities are now also hopping on. Maybe he's also coming out here to proclaim his support for Israel, so as to also show his former political homes, Yoba, I'm in charge, Mchana, I am here, I am in charge. That could be, it could be, one of the things that are busy fueling him. But I strongly believe that it's not as genuine as he's making it think, but that's my own opinion here. I'm trying to be objective, but it's impossible because I don't stand with, yeah, but that's not what we're talking about. Okay, let's continue. Now let's get into the reactions and the criticism that he has faced since he came out with his recent declaration, guys. The declaration of support for Israel by Kenny Kunene has not gone unnoticed. Unlike that other time, it was subtle, ne? He got the reactions, he got, people talking, but it wasn't as, people are not making noise as much as they are now about, his statements, mind you, because like I said, the way he came out to proclaim his supports, he affirmed it in a way. It was as if his previous affirmations and proclamations were practiced. It was just a trial. So when he came out now, he literally came out guns blazing, so that if he said it and we didn't hear him, or we did not take note this time around, ukhulume wazwakala. He said it, he made his view and his stance known, and that was it. And he came here with that arrive alive wanyatotsi energy. Guys, you remember how in Tatem Phil and Balula used to have that energy though? Okay, wait, let's continue before I deflect. Now, his declaration of support for Israel has not gone unnoticed, and it has sparked considerable reactions and criticisms, guys. Some South Africans have commended his audacity and willingness to challenge the status quo, while others have expressed disappointment and accused him of betrayal. I don't blame them. But then again, what do you guys expect? Like, what? Okay, let me just ask. What is it that you expect from a sushi king, socialite turned politician, a slash fighter, slash ex-fighter, slash PA? What do you expect from such a person? So I don't know why you're saying betrayal when in actual fact, flip-flopping has been his thing. But one thing about him, he will sing where his bread is buttered. Yay! And I respect him for that, just that. But yeah, you butter my bread, I will sing. And that's literally him. Literally. Anywho, critics argue that as a former member of the EFF, Kunene should have remained loyal to the collective decisions and principles of the organization. They maintain that his support for Israel undermines, the party's long-standing solidarity with oppressed nations. But then again, to answer those critics, I think it would is not make sure for you to expect him to still abide, within the party's principles, and the principles of the organization, because again, he's no longer a part of the economic freedom fighters. He is now, I think, the deputy president of the Patriotic Alliance. So he's obviously going to be a person that is now an ambassador, an advocate of the Patriotic Alliance's goals and its views, its principles and stuff. And even if it means turning his back on things that he had probably once pledged to never turn the other way, when it comes to actually addressing or supporting and so I think I understand where they're coming from, but then again, I'm just there like, how long has this man now been part of the Patriotic Alliance? And haven't they been doing shady things for quite some time? When I'm saying they, I'm saying him. I'm saying him because hi Ntate Kenny. Allegedly nakwana. Please don't come for me. And not only that, guys, recently I'm going to attach the article here. Hopefully it's going to pop up. Utata as well has also come out. I think Lotata Lona that they were supposed to name he's an anti-apartheid activist, Dr. Alan Busak. He's also come out to tell the Patriotic Alliance that he no longer wants them to name a street after him, following, the party's support for Israel. That's why I'm saying, unlike in 2017, this time around, the noise was made. The message is clear. We got it, and it would explain how people have been reacting, including myself. So the anti-apartheid activist, Dr. Alan Busak, came out to tell the PA that he no longer wants them to name a street after him. He went on to say that he cannot be associated with a party that supports the Israeli apartheid state. So, guys, as you can see, the tables have turned when it comes to other things, but I really do not think that Kenny cares. They're probably looking for another anti-apartheid activist that they can now identify and name a street after. And you see why I'm saying that Mackenzie is calculative. Huh? My thing but when I say it's calculative, ne? What? I think we must also talk about his recent remarks in the next. We must comment on his remarks himself, because why would you come and Mampincha, aka as Tate Mackenzie? And that's my thing. Looking at how things have changed, you would have expected those utterances to be made by Kenny, because he comes from the entertainment industry and because of his ties, obviously, still to socialites and the likes. And then you'd expect Gayton to be the one that says this, but then it's the other way around. Like, it's literally the other way around. So I really hope that Ntate Kunene knows what he's doing, because and I think Dr. Mpopalatse also once did something along these lines. And where is she now? Despite the DA being, you understand? Do you guys now see it? Nonetheless, it is important to note that not all responses are negative. However, a majority are. A majority are. It's the minority that seem to be commending Kunene for fostering open dialogue and expressing his personal views, which makes sense. I cannot commend you for expressing your personal views in a country that exercises democracy. That's your democratic right, Nkosiam. So why must I come and clap hands for you? Literally, okay. But anyways, let's continue, right? Several individuals commend him for fostering an open dialogue and expressing his personal views rather than conforming to political expectations. Now, there are people that support Israel, but they have ways as to how they go about it. As for Kenny, that's why I'm saying his move was more of a populist one than it was, even though you understand. Hey, but let me leave it. Anywho, the ones that are commending him continue to argue that diverse opinions should be heard for a healthy democracy to thrive. Ewe kaloku, because siku Rainbow Nation, as it should be. However, it's scary seeing Kenny Kunene being the one that is doing this, guys. That's why I honestly do not blame people for coming for him and everything that has to do with him. Like literally. The mere fact you could see his remarks now, the things that he said now, has now sparked another debate as to whether he is a credible leader or not, or if he's even fit enough to be the leader that he is today, or the leader that he is painted to be. For me, is interesting. I never thought I'd live to see the day, because hacha izandla bezikade zishaywa laphayana. Ngezibuza ukuthi how sishayela uSushi King izandla, guys. I'm not saying it's impossible for a person to change, but when you look at the timeline of things and how things have changed and how he still continues to remain the center of attention and the talk of the town. Hi, I'm telling you now, that Madala, hey, I'm telling you. Let us continue before I deflect. Now, in closing, as we come to the end, or as we conclude today's video, I'm not continuing with anything. We are closing, we are ending. As we come to the end of this episode, it's clear that Kenny Kunene's declaration of support for Israel has generated significant controversy and scrutiny. While some stakeholders commend his audacity and openness to independent thought, others see it as a questionable move that diverges from the interests of his political party that we know him from, understand, because we knew him as a supporter Yekongi, but as a member of the EFF. So for a person that was a staunch member of the EFF, you'd think, man, but then again, we're out here like, but now he's the deputy president of the PA. And if these are the views of the PA, these are what the PA stands for, then we can't come for him for that. We can't. We really can't. So with multiple possible motivations behind his stance, it is crucial to continue the dialogue and further scrutinize the impact of this declaration, delving deeper into discussions surrounding leadership, politics, and personal interests. That will obviously help us gain a more comprehensive understanding of the complex dynamics surrounding this issue. Once again, thank you so much for joining me on the Conversations with Lankosi YouTube channel. I hope that this episode, this video, I don't know how to call it, provided you with valuable insights, because it was my commentary on Dr. Kenny's remarks and his recent, proclamation that he made so public, I was like, why can't I? Let me just express my views. But before I do, let me do my research, because what if it's not his first time doing this, and at least now we know he actually started singing this song in 2017. It's just now, it's causing waves because of the current political climate. So yeah, I hope that I did provide you with valuable insights into Kenny Kunene's support for Israel and the challenges it poses to his leadership credibility. Remember, guys, to stay curious, question everything, and seek the truth beyond the surface. Until next time, Zatandazam, this was your host, Langos. Enkosi once again for lending an ear and your eyes. Now do not forget to click on that subscribe button, light the notification bell so that you do not miss out on any of our new uploads. Diyanithanda kakhulu zithandwa.